What if I told you that right now, today, you could build a second home in your backyard? Your total investment is 1.1 million. It is not for every property. It is not a magic yield machine. Your total rent, 1200 a week. No planning permit, no council approval, no neighborhood objections, no months of waiting. There are 6 things that can stop you or at least slow you down. But here is what they don't tell you. What if I told you that right now, today, you could build a second home in your backyard? No planning permit, no council approval, no neighborhood objections, no months of waiting. Just build it. On 14th of December 2023, the Victorian Government passed Planning Amendment VC 253, and it changed the rules for the 700,000 blocks across Victoria, including most likely yours. I'm Ankar, this is Next House, Melbourne's property intelligence channel, and today I'm going to walk you through exactly what these rules mean, whether your blocks qualifies, what it actually costs, what it actually earns. Because the numbers you see advertised online, some of them are real and some of them aren't. So let's go. To understand how big this change is, you need to know what the rules were before. Before 2023 December, if you wanted a granny flat in Victoria, you needed a planning permit, full stop. And it wasn't just any permit. The structure was called Dependent Persons Unit, and the clue is in the name. Only dependent person could live there. A family member, someone with age or health condition. You could not rent it to a friend, you could not rent it to a stranger. It had to be movable, technically off the property, and it still required council approval, still took months, still cost you time and money before a single brick was laid. The result? Victoria approved fewer than 30 granny flats per year, 30 in the entire state. Now, under the new rules, the dwelling is called a small second dwelling. It can be rented to anyone under the Residential Tenancies Act like any other rental property. No planning permit, no objections from neighbors, and just a building permit, and you build it. That's the change. A quick note before we get into the rules. Everything in this video is general information only, not a financial advice, not planning advice. Please stick with a licensed town planner and a building surveyor who can look at your specific property. Now, the 7 rules. All 7 must be met. Fail 1, you need a planning permit. Although even with a permit, the process can still be fast. We'll come to that point. Rule 1, lot size. Your block must be over 300 square meters. Most suburban Melbourne blocks are 400 to 700 square meters. This is where most people will be fine. Rule 2, floor area. The granny flat must be 60 square meters or less. Measured to the external walls, a veranda counts toward the cap, an uncovered deck does not. Rule 3, zone. Your property must be in a residential or rural zone. The general residential zone, neighborhood residential zone, mixed use zone, all qualify. If you're not sure, check planning maps online. Free, take 30 seconds. Rule 4, and this is the most important one. No overlays that trigger a permit. If your property has a bushfire management overlay, you need a permit. If there is a flooding overlay, land subject to inundation, floodway, special building overlay, you need a permit. If there is a heritage overlay, you may still be fine, provided that the building stays under 5 meters high and uses muted neutral colors, but check carefully. Rule 5, only one small second dwelling per lot. If you already have a granny flat, you will need a permit. Rule 6, no reticulated gas. Victoria banned new gas connections to all homes from 2024. Your granny flat must be fully electric. Rule 7, it cannot be subdivided. It stays on the same title as your main home. You cannot sell it separately. This matters for how you structure the ownership. And one more thing, not on the graphic, but critically important. Check your certificate of title for a restrictive covenant. If there is a single dwelling covenant on your title, it overrides everything. Even the planning exemption, you will need a lawyer to remove or vary that covenant before you can build anything. So you have checked the 7 rules. Your block qualifies. What happens next? There are 2 pathways. Pathway 1, if you're fully permit exempt. This is one of the most people in Melbourne's middle and outer suburbs will use. Step 1, check your property and planning and maps online. Confirm the zone and overlays. Take 5 minutes, free. Step 2, engage a builder or designer. Get a certified design that meets the 60 square meter limit, the sitting standards under the building regulations. Step 3, appoint a private builder surveyor. They assess the design against the building regulations and issue a building permit, typically 2 to 6 weeks. Step 4. Build it. Construction typically takes 12 to 16 weeks. At the end, the surveyor inspects and issues an occupancy permit. Total time from start to payment around 4 to 5 months. That is the permit-exempt for a permit-exempt block. Path 2. VicSmart. If your block has an overlay, heritage, landscape, smaller lot, you need a planning permit. But since 2024, most of these applications qualify for the VicSmart fast track pathway. VicSmart means 10 business days for the council decision. No public notice, no neighbor objections. 10 business days. A year ago, that would have been sounded impossible. It's the law now. Total time on the VicSmart pathway, 5 to 7 months. Slightly longer, but still dramatically faster than any previous system. So where in Melbourne does this reform actually make sense? The honest answer is not anywhere, not everywhere. The code logic and the Archistar analysis tested every residential block in Melbourne for genuine physical suitability, not just a lot size, but layout, setbacks. Enough space for a 60 square meter dwelling. They count approximately 230,000 blocks in metropolitan Melbourne. The suburbs with the most eligible blocks: Mornington Peninsula, nearly 24,000, Casey, almost 17,000, Monash, Knox, Manningham, all about 13,000. There are outer and middle ring suburbs, larger blocks, post-1960s housing stock, less heritage overlay, specific suburbs standing out. Dry on the Mornington Peninsula, 38% of all stock there is eligible. Doncaster East, nearly 35%, Rowville, over 30%, Glen Waverley, over 27%. Now, the honest caveat, Inner Melbourne, Yarra, Port Phillip, Stonington, these have fewer than 2,000 eligible blocks each. Why? Heritage overlays, neighborhood character overlays, lots that are simply too small. If you own in Fitzroy, Collingwood, South Yarra, check your overlay status very carefully before getting excited about this reform. It may still work, but it's not simple as it is in the outer suburbs. And now the numbers. And I want to be honest with you here, because the yield numbers you see advertised by granny flat builders are almost always best case. You will see claims like build for 180,000 for rent for 500 a week. That is 14% gross yield. And mathematically that's correct at those exact numbers. But here is what they don't tell you. A quality, code compliant, 2-bedroom granny flat in Melbourne in 2026 costs between 190 to 255k to build, not 180. And rental rates in Melbourne have softened. The market that was 550 a week in 2023 is closer to 400 to 480 a week right now in most suburban areas. So what does the independent research actually say? InvestorKit, cited in API magazine in December 2025, found that adding a granny flat typically lifts your overall property yield by 1.4 to 1.65 percentage points. Let me put that in dollars. A 900k Melbourne house renting for 750 a week, that's a 4.3% gross yield, and a granny flat 200,000 build cost 450 a week in rent. Your total investment is 1.1 million. Your total rent 1,200 a week. That 5.7% blended gross yield, an improvement of 1.4 percentage points. That's real, that's meaningful, and it's a lot more honest than 14% headline. One more thing worth knowing, because this dwelling is brand new, you get full tax depreciation, Division 43 capital works, Division 40 plant and equipment. Talk to your tax agent, it is real money. There are 6 things that can stop you, or at least slow you down. Number 1, bushfire management overlay. If your property has a BMO on it, and this affects most properties in Outer East, the hills, and regional areas, you need a planning permit. Full CFA referral, BAL assessment. It's not impossible, but it's a proper process. Number 2, flooding overlays. Land subject to inundation, floodway overlay, special building overlay. If any of these apply, planning permit required. Melbourne Creek corridors, low-lying areas in Nadabinong, Werribee, Dandenong. Check the maps. Number 3, heritage overlay. This one is partial restriction. If your property has a heritage overlay, you can still potentially build without permit, provided the height stays under 5 meters and you use muted, neutral colors. Anything else, permit required. Number 4, significant landscape overlay. This applies in Dandenong ranges, coastal areas, the hills. A permit is required, but here is the good news. VicSmart still applies. 10 business days. Number 5, and this is the one most people miss, a restrictive covenant on the title. Some properties, particularly in estates built in the 1980s and 1990s, have a single dwelling covenant registered on a certificate of title. The covenant overrides everything, the planning exemption, VicSmart pathway, all of it. You need a lawyer to vary or remove the covenant before you can actually build. It's a court process, it takes time. Check before you spend a single dollar on plans. And number 6, lot under 300 square meters. Even if the lot is too small for the full exemption, you can still apply for a planning permit. And under Amendment VC282, which came into force in September 2025, there are new deemed to comply standards that make those applications faster. The bottom line, most Melbourne suburban blocks have none of these issues, but the ones that do really do. Check first. Before the final verdict, just remember what the table shows. Industry builds claims 180k, real costs 190k to 255k. Industry advertises 500 to 600 week rent. Real Melbourne rents right now 400 to 500 in most Melbourne suburban areas. Independent research says expect a 1.4 to 1.65 percentage point yield uplift. Not 14, not 17. Strong case, you should probably do it. You own a block over 500 square meter in an outer or middle ring suburb. Berwick, Werribee, Doncaster, Cranbourne, Werribee. No heritage overlay, no BMO, no covenant on the title. You can hold that investment for 5 years plus. You can also absorb a 200k to 250k capital outlay. For you, this information is genuinely powerful, worth investigating, but do the numbers first. You are in an inner suburb, but there is no heritage overlay. Your block is 400 to 500 square meter tight, but feasible, or you are buying a new property and thinking about building from the start. Get a proper feasibility study done before you spend anything. The maths can still work, but you need to know your specific numbers. Probably not, at least not right now. You are in Yarra, Port Phillip, Stonington, heritage overlays everywhere. Block under 400 square meters, BMO or flood overlay on the title, short investment horizon, you will sell in 3 years, budget under 150k. Forcing a granny flat on the wrong property costs more than it earns. This reform is real. It is one of the most significant changes to Victorian planning law in 30 years. But it is not for every property. It is not a magic yield machine. If you check V7 rules, you check the title, you run the honest numbers, you're for the right block, in the right suburb, at the right price. It can genuinely change what your property earns. If this gave you something you didn't have before, subscribe. Drop your question in the comments. I read every single of them. This is Next South. The data is always yours.